Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to this other edition of your favorite television Africa TV. We talk about Rwanda, first smartphone manufacturer in Africa. And to know more about it, I will introduce you to my guest, Mr. Yam Timba. Good morning.
Hello.
You are a citizen who is interested in the economic problems in Africa.
Yes.
Thank you for honoring us with your presence on this set to give us your perspective on the issue.
I'm happy to be here. So let's talk.
Soon, smartphone made in Rwanda will be available on the mobile phone market in Africa. Rwanda, a poor country that witnessed 25 years ago after the 1994 genocide, has been radically transformed. Paul Kagame's country has become one of the most dynamic economies on the African continent, a real development model for Africa. After the very first vehicle assembly plant of the German manufacturer Volkswagen, which created 1,000 direct jobs, 20,000 are announced with the Pan-African technology company Marathons of the Rwanda investor Ashish Takar. This made in Rwanda smartphone will be the first devices to use Android, an operating system optimized for applications such as YouTube Go, Facebook Lite, and Twitter Lite, created for the African market. Questions: what comments do you have on this good news for Africans?
I don't really think this is good news. I think there's a lot of things we say about Rwanda that's completely false, and I don't know why people are so I don't know how to call it. I don't know why people do see Rwanda like something that is exceptional. First of all, first smartphone manufacturer in Africa. That's false. It's not true because you have smartphone being made in Ivory Coast and laptops since 2016. You have Congo, the neighboring Congo Brazzaville, with VMK. They are making their smartphones, seeing their tablets since 2016. And in Ivory Coast is the company called OpenCI, which is making these smartphones in 2016. You have another one in Kenya, Synergy Innovations, that have the label, the brand Silk Patriot, making this manufacturing these smartphones since 2016. I don't understand why only something that is only your project is taking so much time of people. They are talking about it as if the whole sky is coming from Rwanda. What's the problem? This is not especially good news. This is just something that it can be good, but not something very special.
Isn't President Paul Kagame making Rwanda a model for economic development
This
in
cannot
Africa?
be an economic development. If you say Rwanda is an economic development for countries of Africa, what you are saying is that Cameroon may start digging the most important part of its resources from Nigeria. Listen, we African countries will never develop because we are just exploiting other countries. You see what is happening in DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo. Rwanda is part of it. Do you want other countries to come to go and be part of mass killing in other countries because so that they can fund their development? This is not what we think about. What we think must be about and foster the development of Africa, of African countries, is not this model. The best model is to find resources within the country. We should have our own resources, and these resources are the best resources to develop our countries. What can be presented as one of the best economic models in Africa, let me surprise you, should be what Cameroon has done in the 70s and the early 80s. If we count on our own resources, if we plan this carefully so that what we earn we then we then use it in creating value. Then this is the best model we can use. And we had something that was a hindrance for us in those years. It was that we didn't have our own currency. Believe, just think, guess if we had our own currency in those days, and that 90% of our international income was not kept in France, maybe we would have been a far more developed country today. So the best economic development model for our countries is to count only on our resources. You have said that Rwanda is a poor country. Where do they find resources if they are poor? Next question.
More than 22,000 jobs in a country of 15 million people who have always lived on food assistance. In this an act to be welcomed.
I've told you, yes, it is always something to be welcome when you create value. They are, yes, creating value, but it is not yet operating. So I cannot be clapping my hands because I see nothing. It's just a project, and we have so many projects that have been announced and never been completed. So let's see when they complete it. But
I know that they inaugurated the company in April.
Company what?
Of smartphones, marathons.
Let's see the first smartphones in the market. That's what I'm saying. Okay?
Yes.
Until you have the products, you are still on projects, right? Mm-hmm. When you start having the products, then you are on operations. So let's see the first smartphones in the market. When we see them, when we see the first salaries, because they have opened in April, let's see the first salaries at the end of this month, May and June, and let's see it next year and the same year at the same time. So you will say, okay, it's working. Okay, we cannot be clapping hands for something that is just started, but it's good news. It's good news for Rwanda because there are jobs that have been created. There is technology that is being introduced in the country, and let's also say this is something good in the way that this country is trying to do its best to let its youth dream about bigger projects, about better projects. So it's something we can say, okay, it's good. Now that they have completed the project, let's see how it works. And let's come next year to see if it is still operating and what they have done.
Thank you. In addition to reducing unemployment, once the plant start producing smartphones, users will be paid in installments over a 24-month period. Isn't this a very good policy of the Kagame's government to facilitate people's access to its smartphone and increase and improve the turnover of Rwanda investor Ashish Taka?
It's not something special. I don't know why you see it's not something special. That's what they have been doing in Ivory Coast in 2016 with the laptops. So it's not something special. They have been doing the same thing. I don't want to talk about Morocco, about Egypt. I don't want to be talking here about Namibia or South Africa. It had been done elsewhere. Even here in Cameroon, you can buy your smartphone, you can buy your laptop with installment. We are in Douala here, just check. You can do it. So it's not something special. But it is something that is really efficient in the way that people cannot necessarily afford the cost or let's say the price of the smartphone at once. So if they can pay in installment, then they can do it. My own smartphone, I buy it by installment here in Douala. So I don't know what, it's not something special. And more and more people are buying, and most of the companies here in Douala, they are buying their laptops or their desktops in installments. So this is how business works better today. So it's not something that have come out from the box of Rwanda. But what we see is that will help Rwandans to equip themselves more easily, and this will help them access to technology very easily, because these are one of the strategies that can be used in our countries to help people access to technology, access to equipment, access to to this kind of devices very easily, because more is in a more easier way, because it takes time for people to gather a lot of money to buy smartphones or laptops. But we need this because there is a we have this new economy, this e-economy that we need to develop, because it will help our countries to reach, or to just to jump at the same level as the more developed countries.
It's it is politics that seems to be the driving force behind the economy here. When Rwanda's Minister of Information, Communication and Innovation Technology says she must work with telecommunication companies to find ways to reduce the cost of using the internet.
Let me tell you something. You will be surprised, but one of the countries that has the least, that the lowest prices of internet access are not those you think could be. And a lot of African countries are among the countries where the access to internet is very high. So it will be very interesting for a country like this one, in really committed to develop the e-economy, to work with the internet providers so that they can lower the cost. But it does not depend on their goodwill. It is not like that it works. It is business. If you want to lower the cost, you need to have a very important amount, a huge amount of subscribers. So Rwanda is, you have said 14 million people. So I don't see how you have a critical level when they cannot have more than they cannot have more than certain number of potential subscribers. So the price at a certain moment will just stop lowering, and this is an opportunity for countries which are more populated, like DRC, like Kenya, like Tanzania, like Morocco, Egypt or Ethiopia, because, or South Africa, because if you have a lot of people in your country, and by the time the power purchase is also growing, then you can work with these internet suppliers so that they can lower the price. I know that there are some people, some countries, which are really working on this way, so that internet access may become easy, and may reach a very low price, so that more and more people access to it. Because we cannot be thinking about e-commerce, we cannot be thinking about e-payment, we cannot be thinking about cloud, about blockchain, about big data. We cannot be thinking about e-government. Or let's talk about things that people are talking every day. We cannot be talking about e-commerce, e-payment, e-government if internet access is still high, if the price is still high. So this is good. I would say that's a good move, but they should think about how this can impact the results, financial result of their internet suppliers. If they ask them to lower too much, these people will lose money and they will go. So they should think about that.
Manufacturing locally smartphones and vehicles that meet the demand of the African market is a very good thing for Africa's economic development.
It depends on how what your market is. If you see, for example, someone who is manufacturing Rwanda, but thinking that Rwanda will be the market, maybe it depends on how what the size of your manufacture, of your plant will be, and it depends on your cost of production. What is the average weight of cost of capital? What are the results and the ratios that you are using in your plant? So, but it will be very interesting if it can be manufactured here in Africa, because we already have 1.5 billion inhabitants, among whose you have, it is said that we have 800 million people using a smartphone currently in Africa, and a smartphone, you are around 300 million. So That is a huge market. But the problem will be you are talking about light versions of the most solicited platform, social networks platforms. So most of the time, maybe people will need something more complete, something that have more value than Facebook Live. But maybe people will need Facebook, the whole Facebook, the good Facebook. So um, it's something interesting when you manufacture you manufacture these kind of devices, because it is not only because you will sell it to your own people, it is because you will master technology. And behind the smartphone there's a lot of technology. But I have a problem with this manufacturing of smartphones in Rwanda. How will they do? Because it is based on coltan. What will they do? Will they try to have DRC um, uh, arrange this problem of coltan and all minerals that are stolen in DRC, or will they still keep working with all this mess that is happening there? So let's see how they will arrange themselves to see. And I would like to know exactly if what will be their market. And this is something that we Africans we should think about. We are manufacturing smartphones in Kenya, in Ivory Coast, in Congo, in Rwanda. I'm not talking about Morocco, Tunisia, and Egypt. And there are smartphones being manufactured in Ethiopia and in South Africa. How many companies will be manufacturing smartphones in Africa, and that will have to face competition with all those which are coming from abroad, from China, from Europe, from America, from Russia, from India, and from all these countries. So is there enough market for all these people? So, but anyway, it is interesting to have to have companies manufacturing these equipments in Africa, because this will help us master the technology. And behind the technology, there's all the logistics questions, and there is all the question about the minerals, raw materials that are used. Maybe that can help. I don't know, bring some peace in Africa and foster economy.
Thank you. Are smartphone the key to Africa's digital revolution?
Not on its own. Not if you just think about smartphone, but it depends on how people use it. The most of the time, and I really complain about that. Most of the time, people use their smartphone only to for social networks. But you can use your smartphone for research. I mostly use my smartphone for to Google things, for my research on Google and all this, and for my mailings. But I guess and I see that a lot of people use their phone just to chat, for chatting, for posting videos, but it can be helpful if you want to. It can be a vehicle of a very very interesting economic trend in e-commerce, in e-payment, and that's what why Kenyans, for example, the strategy of synergy innovations in Kenya was that M-Pesa, their e-payment solution, M-Pesa was gaining the field, and it was today I think they have 17 million people subscribers on Pesa. So they need smartphones. If you want to use Pesa, you need a phone anyway. So they needed to manufacture it because there is 17 million potential subscribers and potential customers for them.
Thank you, Mr.
Yam Timba.
Yamtimba. Excuse me.
You're welcome.
Yes. Have you have something to add
About what?
about Rwanda?
About Rwanda, I don't know if there is something special that I can say about Rwanda.
The last question.
Okay, I'm listening to your last question.
Yes.
Or was it? Is that the last
yes,
question?
that is the last
There is really, there is nothing special I could add. What I can say is just that we are looking what's happening in Rwanda. We all remind ourselves what happened in Rwanda 20 years ago. I have myself some students at the University of Dara when I was teaching there. lecturing there who were coming from Rwanda. So I discussed a lot with them. I talked a lot with them. We even organized one ceremony for them. It was an evening during which they shared their story with Cameroonian students, and we were so sorry about what was happening there. And but we look at Rwanda today. We hope that they have recovered and that they will understand more than other African countries what it means to have to make all you can to avoid violence, to avoid fighting with other countries, to avoid war with other countries or within the country. So maybe the experience will teach us something, but also what we think is that this is a country we hope they will recover from the genocide and that they will teach other countries why they should avoid war, because if there is war in your country, it can end up with 1 million people killed. So they can teach other people that they should avoid war.
Thank you.
And
We thank Mr. Yam Timba. You have come to share your expertise. We hope that at home you could have some answer. We remind you that you are in the television channel Africa TV, Africa Seen Differently. The program is Economy First. Thank you for following us and thank you for your loyalty. It was Marie-Louise Ngome for Economy First. Subscribe on the channel and like the video. Goodbye.